Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fine edition of the Haunting of KGGO. It is sponsored by the Phantom Fall Fest happening at Adventureland all this month. More details at our website, kggo.com/haunting or adventurelandresort.com. It is the 5th season of the Haunting of KGGO, and joining me this week for the show are Sarah and Rob, and I got the name right once. We'll see if I can do it again. They are from Paranormania, right?
Yay!
Dang.
Got it.
Nailed it.
Boom, got it. Hey guys, how we doing today?
We're doing good.
Other than Rob being upset at Sarah that we've had to record this a little bit later in the day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's nothing new, really. So
She's like
it's all fine.
There you go. Well, you guys are from the group Paranormania. You were actually recommended to me by Kat Slaughter from the Squirrel Cage Jail, who we had on last week on the show. Welcome to the show, guys. Let's start here. Tell me about Paranormania. How long you guys been together?
Oh, gosh. I think it's been almost 4 years now, hasn't it?
I think it's 5 years.
Well, we're off to a good start.
Nobody
knows what when the group started. So 4 or 5 years, give or take.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Let's go here, and we'll start with Rob. How did the group kind of come together, and how did you get hooked up with Sarah in this way? And what's the story here?
Oh well, I was kind of going through a little bit of a funk, the winter funk and stuff, and I needed to get out of the house and kind of let loose and let my hair down, which is an inside joke for anybody that knows me on that, because I have no hair.
So bald.
Yeah, I'm bald as can be. But anyways, I had seen an event on an Instagram page, and it was for a couple of the guys from Ghost Hunters, and they were in the home state of Iowa. And I thought, man, that's going to be exactly what I need. I'm going to go out and do this, and went to the event. I had a blast, and I met all sorts of people from East Coast to West Coast, everywhere in between. And there was not one single person there that was actually from Iowa. And I thought, well, I'm the home guy here, so it wasn't later on in the night than a late person, somebody who was late to that event, I'm not going to name names, she showed up, and we were just kind of, chit-chatting, and she had mentioned that she had booked Malvern Manor, and I said, well, where do you live? Are you, how far away are you? And she's like, oh, I live like 8 minutes away. I'm like, oh, okay. So she definitely got me beat, and I asked just kind of, nonchalantly, like, well, who's coming with? And she's like, I think it's just going to be me. And I was like, well, not anymore, because I am inviting myself. So I butted my way into the invitation, and we basically began right then and there. And we started doing this stuff as a not even a hobby or a passion, but I mean, it's kind of our, second, third job, if you will.
So you guys didn't know each other before the group started?
No, not at all.
Oh,
Nope.
wow. I didn't know that about you guys. That's kind of crazy. Sarah, when the random dude at the event comes up to you and just butts his way in, what are you thinking?
Well, it's actually kind of funny because, like, where we met in the manor, I am definitely not a people person, so I like to find the darkest corner to hide in, which in a haunted location is fantastic for me. But I was, like, down in the nursing home wing all by myself. It's totally pitch black. And here comes Rob, and he pokes his head around the corner. And I said, hi, I'm a real person. And he was like, oh, there's somebody back here. We got to talking, and he's also that way, likes to find those dark corners away from people. And, yeah, I was excited to have somebody come with me because that was my first experience actually, like, in a haunted location. But by God, I was going to go to Malvern Manor by myself and do it. So
that's crazy. Well, let's go down this way. I think there's always a couple ways that people kind of get into the paranormal, whether it's they saw something that they can't explain, they have always seen stuff, or they just have a general interest in it. What was kind of your jumping in point for the paranormal? Were you always into it, or what, Sarah?
I was always that weird kid. I never had any experiences when I was, like, little or anything, but I spent my middle school years falling asleep reading Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, wow.
So, I was
happy
just a weird
stuff
kid.
there.
It is. And I always, I watched the ghost hunting shows, and, well, I didn't agree with a lot of their tactics or, they work things up and make it dramatic. but such cool locations that they were getting into. And I was like, man, it would be awesome just to be able to travel around and see all these cool places. And so just like Rob, I saw the event on social media and it's like, well, that's really close to my house. I might as well go check it out.
Rob, did you start a truck in the background or what's happening?
I didn't, but I think the guy saw the house I'm sitting in front of and just got scared. I mean, I don't know. Because I'm currently, while we're doing this interview, I'm actually at one of our favorite locations, and Sarah doesn't even know this. She's going to be so mad at me when she finds out. But
oh my God.
I think, I think he saw the house and just went, nope, and just peeled off. So.
All right. So, Sarah, so you were just kind of always just interested in it then, Sarah, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you have any inclination of starting a group or doing anything like that? Or was it just, it was the heat of the moment?
Honestly, not at all. I was just I was excited to get out of the house and see what happened. And then I think it was a few months between that event and when we actually went to Malvern Manor just as the pair of us. But after that, we were like, when are we going to do this again? We need to get into another location. We need to come back here. And
you know what's funny about this is the start of your guys' hey, we're just going to go to a haunted location by ourselves. It's either the start of an adult film or a murder mystery movie, you know?
It is, yeah. And there's a joke, like, I would be that person in the murder movie that, like, chases the noise down the hallway by myself. I'm that person.
Barefoot, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Are you
always barefoot?
Always barefoot. Okay, even
always
when it's
barefoot,
cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's really cold in winter, I'll wear boots. But
I gotcha. Rob, how about you? How did you get into this wacky world of the weird?
Kind of the same thing. I was always just really big, growing up into the cryptid stuff. The things that fly around in the middle of the night up in the sky, or that legendary big Sasquatch, or even things. I remember doing a school project on the Inca lines, and other kids in my class were doing just kind of the generic things that are around here. And I was looking at the world in a bigger spectrum, like just really looking past everything and seeing, like Sarah said, all these other locations that are out there, all the way from, the Winchester Mystery House to, places over in Europe, Stonehenge and stuff like that. Just absolutely fascinated me. And to this day, it still does. That's kind of where I always been. Then, like you said, when I seen this opportunity to do, a thing, I had watched Ghost Hunters so many times, and I just thought, man, that just looks like something I would just really, really enjoy.
I get you.
And I got presented the opportunity to do it, and there you go, I was in it.
Sarah and Rob from Paranormania joining me on the Haunting of KGGO. It is sponsored by Phantom Fall Fest, going on now at Adventureland. More details at kggo.com/haunting. Off the air, there was a little joke about Paranormania that Rob can't actually say it. Where did the name come from?
The name came from my love of weird words. I used to be an instructor in dentistry, and my favorite class to teach was pharmacology because it had all these really long, like, weird, complicated words.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to do that because why not?
So it was your idea to name it Paranormania?
It was.
Rob, say it.
Yeah, it was all her. I legit, like, she told me, and then I looked at her in kind of a confusing, like the dog whistle look, like half tilted head, and I'm like, say it again. And she says it again. Say that again. It literally took.
Well, you got to say it for us. Say it. Let's hear you say.
Yeah, Paranormania. I could say it now after 5 years. I hope I got it down. But the first year, I could tell you, it was a struggle. It was a struggle.
What's the hardest name we can make people make our group, and that's what we're going with.
Exactly.
What
people are going to be years later. They're going to be like, hey, remember that one group that we met doing that one thing? What was their name? They'll never remember it, but they remember they can't pronounce it. So
exactly, and they have a beer named after them. So the joke question is always, what came first, the T-shirt or the Facebook page?
Actually, the T-shirts did, because we had just decided, like, the name, and we were getting ready to meet up at Malvern Manor again, one of our favorite haunts. I think it was right around my birthday. And Rob shows up and he's like, I got you a present. And he throws this box at me, and there were T-shirts in it with our team name on them. And I was like, what?
Yeah. I did things.
Why do I picture Rob like literally chucking a box at you? And then
He does.
Yeah,
That was what it was.
It's not uncommon at all.
All
It's
right.
my favorite pastime, honestly.
Okay, well, yeah, no, I completely understand on that one. All right, so you guys, 4 or 5 years ago, you kind of come up with this whole thing. Fate kind of leads you together. Once you kind of established the group, where was the first place you went? What was your first investigation?
Oh, we've been to, I would say, Malvern Manor. Was our first
it'd have to be
and
Malvern.
favorite.
No,
think we've
first.
been there the most.
Was that it? Was that Malvern?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hands down.
All right, so we've talked on the show just over the years. We've talked about Malvern Manor a fair amount. Josh Hurd, a big part of that place. What did you guys think of it?
Oh, love it. It's absolutely one of my favorite locations.
Why?
Anywhere, and I've been all
Yeah.
over the nation. Why?
Yeah, like what's the one moment from the Malvern Manor that you go back to and you either can't explain it, scared the crap out of you, or was just an amazing moment?
Well, Rob's got a scared the crap out of you moment that has to do with me, but I think my biggest moment actually happened fairly recently there, maybe last year. We were doing an event, and in the nursing home wing, there's something back there that moves between all the rooms. And so just Rob and I were back there. And of course, everyone was watching us on the DVR system in the lobby, right? So we can't see anything, but they can see what we're doing. And I just felt like I was standing with my back against the wall, and I just felt like it opened up behind me. I felt like there was nothing there, like I could reach through the wall.
Weird.
And that is the only time I've ever tapped out of being in any situation. And I was like, this is bad. We need to leave right now.
We need to roll fast.
Yes.
All right. Rob, how about you? What's your moment at Malvern Manor that you always remember?
Oh boy, I hate to be that guy, but there's so many. It's hard to narrow them down. But I do know exactly the night she's talking about, and that was intense. There was something that was just on another level that night. I mean, we've had every sort of interaction that's been there. Anything from just movement to EVPs to shadow figures even. But something about that night, felt like it was just circling us. I remember at one point she had her back to the wall, and she's trying to look at me, but it was so pitch black, you couldn't see anything. And she's like, finally she's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm right here. And she's reaching for me. She grabs me, and we're right in the middle of that hallway. And I remember very distinctly, I could see just a little bit of her outline, and then I could see something right behind her, just go right behind her. And I just kind of froze up and should I say something or shouldn't I? And I didn't have to. And I remember her going, it felt like something just walked right behind me. And I went, well, funny story. Something just walked right behind you, and I had just seen that. And it was shortly after that. She's like, we need to get out of here. There's something not right. And she wasn't joking. It was early night.
Why do I imagine Rob, you're the guy that trips someone so you can get away?
I would never do that. Never.
He would only do that to me.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. You don't have to be the fastest, just not the slowest. So.
Yes, exactly.
Sarah and Rob from Paranormania on the line with me right now, talking about some of their adventures at Malvern Manor. Where else have you guys have gone? I know Sarah said that you've been all across the country. Have you gone across the country as a paranormal investigator, or just gone places? What's the story there?
We've gone both east and west, just as kind of a team.
Okay.
One year we went out to the East Coast, and we hit Hinsdale House and Penhurst Asylum. And
where's that at?
What was the other one? Penhurst Asylum is right out of Philadelphia.
Okay.
And then Hinsdale House is in upstate New York.
Oh, wow. So you guys have really traveled together.
Yeah, that East Coast, we went to Gettysburg, and we did a little, not really investigating, but we explored the grounds. And I'm a huge history buff. I love getting stories and getting fed all that information. And my other thing is I like trying to teach people, what actually happened on this night or that night, and different events and stuff like that. And I want them leaving with the information of what actually happened, not just a story that I heard maybe or something like that or stuff like that. So I love the history part of things. So going to Gettysburg was just absolutely incredible. And then from there we went up. We did Pennhurst, and Pennhurst is one of the largest mental asylums that was ever out there. And if you ever get a chance, just look that one up, and it will kind of like open your mind a little bit on mental health and how it's come full force these, I don't know how many years ago it's been now, but then we also did Wildwood Sanitarium, and then we did Hinsdale House up in the upper part of New York, and it was a fun trip.
Well, man, you think about all these places, like we off the air we're talking about Edinburgh, and you talk about these different mental hospitals and such. I mean, the tortured soul that was someone that had something going on back in the early days of this. I mean, it was essentially torture. So you think about
exactly.
You think about, wow, well, yeah, I can see why this place is haunted. If people would pass away after these just extreme hate to say, healing, methods, but I mean, they really thought that was helping in the day when you're probably just torturing the poor soul. So,
yeah.
Well, and Rob, the history buff, Pennhurst Asylum was actually closed down by court order for mistreatment sometime at the turn of the century.
So nothing but happy memories there.
Right. And like, this is campus,
there's
18 buildings on over an acre. It's huge.
Okay, so let's say you go to this place. What was the moment there? What was the piece of evidence or the story of the night? What was the scary moment?
I don't know that my moment was super scary, but we had access to get down into the tunnels underground that connect all the buildings.
Okay.
And while we were down there, we were doing an Estes method. And so Rob was listening to like a broken radio on the earphones, and I was asking questions. And there's this entity that likes to follow us around, and his name is Number One, that's very comforting name, right?
I just had a flash of Austin Powers in my number 2.
Now
sorry,
my
apologies.
Like that. No worries. So Rob starts saying, 1, 1, 1, and usually that's our key that Number One is there to say hi. So I started asking like questions that were related back to Malvern, and here we are in Philadelphia, and so Number One had followed us there and was able to answer questions in real time about things that we had done in Malvern, and like that it kind of blew my mind because nobody really knows, like, do these things travel or, how does this all work?
I'm sure there's somebody out there that knows exactly what they're talking about. So
yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Call them up right now, please. I'll wait.
This stuff is always, well, you start, thinking about it, and it's just, some people's methods are, what I would do. So some of my things I would do aren't what other people would do. And for anybody to go, yeah, I know that they travel and stuff. It's like, do they really?
Yeah. How do you know that?
There's there's no PhD in this. There's
right.
It's everybody's best guess. So, all right. So apparently Number One was there that night. Was that the moment that it was just kind of spooky, or why? What was it about that moment?
I think for me, it was just like first of all, I was a little bit frustrated that Number One would not shut his face hole and let me talk to whatever else was there. Usually that's what happens when we go to places. Number One pops his head up and then everything else gets quiet.
Maybe Number One has a crush. Who knows?
I don't know what his deal is. Really spooky. Rob was freaked out. He's always freaked out. But I think it was a realization for me that, like, if it's not traveling, I mean, there's a good chance that there was some travel involved there and it followed us there, whatever. But if it wasn't, like, is there some sort of psychic thing involved that it's just picking up on what I want to hear? There's a lot of possibilities.
Okay.
So I thought it was really interesting.
Rob, what's a moment for you that you kind of you question this whole ghost hunting thing and thinking, you know what, maybe this isn't for me?
I've had 2 moments that really jarred me, but the one that always gets me, I still think about it. I actually was talking about it today on the way down to Atchison, Kansas, where I'm at. And
Oh, you suck.
Yeah, I know.
I wasn't
know.
going to ask. Okay,
She'd be so pissed knowing where I'm at.
Real quick. I remember at the beginning of the interview you said something about it, and I knew that everybody was going to wonder where you were, so I purposely didn't ask where you were. But now that you say it, where are you?
Well, I am in Atchison, Kansas. I am sitting on the steps of the 1889 McIntyre Villa, and it's a big, huge brick-story villa. It's Victorian style, and it is crazy awesome inside. It's one of my favorite places to come to. I'm super active. If you're ever around in the area, come in and check it out.
I'm sorry. Say the name of it. Where is it again?
It's in Atchison, Kansas. And it's called the 1889 McIntyre Villa.
Okay, we'll have to look that up.
And no, I'm not at the other place, Sarah, so settle down.
All right, so what were we talking about? It was a scary moment, right? The moment that...
My moment, yeah. Yeah. So we were actually at the Hinsdale House in New York, and do a little research on that property as well. If you're kind of new to the field, I would suggest maybe dabbling in some other places before you step foot in this place. It's not for the faint of heart. It has got a very, very, very deep history of things. But I was finally asleep on the one of the two couches that are out in the living room, and another buddy of ours had come with, Thomas. He was sleeping on this other couch. Sarah was passed out upstairs in the main kids' bedroom. But I finally fell asleep, and one thing with me is I don't remember my dreams at all. Like, I might remember 3 dreams a year if I'm lucky. I just never remember anything. But I remember very distinctly this huge black shadow figure of a man, like a Slender Man looking thing.
Oh, weird.
Creeping into my dream, and I kind of looked back at him. He was behind me. I looked back at him, and he basically kind of like lunged down at me and tried to throw me. And that was the moment that I startled myself awake, basically jumping off the couch, and I was gasping for air because I was in disbelief of what just happened to me in this dream. And I woke Thomas up. He's stumbling up like, what the hell's going on? You know, it's like 3 or 4 in the morning. I was like, why am I doing this? Why?
So why did you leave Sarah at home?
Yeah, what the hell?
No, don't you even throw this around. We're not going down.
No, I have a thing this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, she's doing a thing. I already knew about it.
I got
Come
a
on,
thing.
Radio guy. Don't be throwing me under the bus like this, okay?
Oh, well, you yelled at me beforehand, so all bets are off here.
That is true. I did. I apologize. It's getting late, so.
Yep. Sarah and Rob from Paranormania joining me on the line to talk about the things that go bump in the night. This is the Haunting of KGGO. It's sponsored by the Phantom Fall Fest happening in Adventureland all this month. More details at our website, kggo.com/haunting. So, all right, so you guys have been doing this for, 4 or 5 years. You definitely sound like you're into the paranormal. I believe it was Rob at the beginning said something about this is like his second or third job. How much time do you guys spend on this every week or, per month?
The second half of this year has quieted down quite a bit, but I will tell you, I think last year I put almost 100,000 miles on my car.
Oh my God.
To paranormal stuff.
Good Lord.
We were doing something probably 3 out of 4 weekends as long as the weather was cooperative, and sometimes when it wasn't.
Wow, so you guys cover like just in the state or around?
Well, we did the big trip out east. Last summer we went west and we took a week and went to Nevada State Prison, which is out by Reno.
Yeah.
So we road tripped out there and came back, and that was a super cool location as well. You could spend a week there and not even make a dent.
Huh. Let me ask you this, what's here in Iowa? I know you guys, like I said earlier, recommended to me by Cat Slaughter from the Squirrel Cage, who we had on last week. What's your favorite place in Iowa? Is it the Squirrel Cage or Malvern? What are some of your favorite places, moments, and haunts here in the state?
I'll let Rob go first.
You're thinking. I know that stall tactic.
That's called delegating right there.
I mean, I have a list of 3 like that are my favorite, but I'll let Rob go first.
Yeah, her list is probably pretty close to mine as well.
Probably.
I'll start off mine because we already know what our top one is because it's the one we go to the most. My other one that's one of my favorites is Edinburgh. I've had so many different things happen at that place. It really leaves me speechless sometimes. There was one time we had a group there. There was maybe 5 of us in the basement, and we legit had somebody break in. It popped through the window upstairs. It stumbling all over the ground, and I was like, holy crap, somebody just broke in. And we run upstairs, and there's nobody there. It's quiet as a church mouse, and I'm like, what the hell was that? Absolutely mind-blowing.
That's one that comes up an awful lot. A lot of people like that place.
Yeah. Sarah, you want to go on the next? Go. Your turn.
In addition to Edinburgh, I think one of our other top haunts is the Squirrel Cage Jail. It's just an amazing place with an awesome history.
And
Cat is super awesome.
Yeah, what was interesting with Cat is when you hear, about a jail or something like that, you kind of get a picture in your head of what you think the haunt should be. And from what she said, it's kind of it's the most polite haunting I've ever heard of.
That's a great way to put it too. It really is. For anybody that's new in the field and really wants to get kind of like their foot wet, it's a great location. It really is. It's not only just with the paranormal side of it, but the history side of it. You walk into that building, there's only one of these in the entire world. It's right here in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and not a lot of people know about it. I was absolutely blown away when I walked into that place, and I was like, wow, holy cow, this is insane. This is crazy. What's haunted? Neat.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Because I told her, not to go back too much back to the interview from last week, but I was telling her I stumbled across it. There was like a documentary or something about it. I'm like, well, that's neat. Like you said. And then you see pictures of it. You'd have no idea that there is a jail on the inside and a jail that spins. It's essentially a bird cage.
Yep.
What do you guys think is your best if you're going to prove to me that the Squirrel Cage Jail is haunted, what's the best piece of evidence you'd have from there?
Oh, yeah.
So we got our best ever EVP out of the whole 5 years we've been investigating at the Squirrel Cage Jail at a big group event. So we were leading the world's largest ghost hunt. And so I think we had about 20 people there with us, which is a lot.
Was it legitimately the world's largest ghost hunt?
It was, because they have networks for the world's largest ghost hunt, like 150 locations around the globe, and everyone is investigating in the same 4-hour block of time.
Okay.
And then everyone's all networked together. So they do some cool long distance experiments and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I just had a digital recorder sitting on the counter, and there's 20 people milling around. So
thank you for that.
I wasn't.
You said something that I know I'd like investigating with you. You set the recorder down. I don't know how many people I've helped with audio, where I've had friends that because I'm in radio, I work with audio a lot. And long story short, how many things I've had to tell people? No, that is you moving the recorder around in your hand.
Yep.
Put it down.
Yeah, so
put it down.
Well, and with 20 people standing around and there's side conversations and someone's sneezing or whatever, I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah.
But I went back to review it, and you can hear very clearly a couple of ladies just having a conversation, right, talking. And then there's this very, very clear female voice that whispers, "We're down here too."
No way, really?
Yeah, I can send you the audio too if you'd like to hear it.
Yeah, that would be cool. And do you have is it anywhere people can see where we can put it on the page? Is it on your Facebook page or YouTube or something?
I can put it on the Facebook page right now. I just have it in a Google folder.
Okay, cool. We'll talk about that off air, and whatever you guys want to send me, we'll put on the page for this whole thing. Rob, what would be yours?
For evidence?
Yeah.
To bring to you from the Squirrel Cage?
Or, you know what? Make it broader. Let's say that I'm one of those people that don't believe in this stuff. What's your personal moment or piece of evidence that you would go, take a look at this and tell me there's not something else going on?
That's a tricky one. I won't lie. I would say I have a piece of audio evidence from Edinburgh, and I don't even know how to even set the whole story up. But I basically it was another one where we had left I left a GoPro on in the mid part of the day. We had left. We'd locked the building. We left, and we were gone for a good probably over half an hour. I came back and I reviewed all that, and on that GoPro there is a noise that's down in the basement, and I have no clue to this day what it could even nothing in that building would make that noise.
Okay.
And it's not coming from outside. It's in that room.
Alrighty.
And as an audio person, you could probably review it over and over and over. And I almost know for sure you would just look at me like, what did you do? Why did you do this? You did it. You made something. I'm like, no, I did not. We left. There's nobody there. That shouldn't be there. What the hell is it? I have no idea.
I always run it through again, because, I make stuff for, radio,
Yeah.
I always run it through how hard would this be for me to make,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what.
Well, I will tell you that with Rob's level of technological expertise, he couldn't make anything.
He has trouble shutting off his alarm clock in the morning.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. I see where we're at now on this whole interview. Okay.
All I know is after 30 minutes of this interview, I just want to go. I don't think we'd get anything done, but I'd love to go investigate with you guys. That's awesome. All right. So, what is going on in the background?
So there's a school across the way, and I'm like, why are these kids still in school? Shouldn't they be out by now? I have no idea, but they're out here playing, and I'm not sure if one of them's getting tackled. No, I think they're okay. But, yeah, they're just having a ball, it looks like. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sarah and Rob from Paranormania on the line with me right now. Let's talk about how you guys investigate. When you go out to a place, are you more tech-based? Are you more, I have a feeling about the room, hear voices, see things? What's it like when you guys go out?
So I think we have a really good mix of both.
Okay.
Usually, Rob is, like you said, he's the history buff, so he'll do a bunch of research on the location.
He's the nerd.
And then he is a nerd.
Hey.
You call me a nerd all the time, so.
Because it's true. I mean, we ain't gonna
lie. But I like to go in, basically blind if we're going to a new location.
Okay.
I think we work really well together then, if we have an experience or we get something on the recorder or, I'm interacting with something, he's able to validate it. Was there a guy named Jim that lived here in 1920? I don't know, but he does.
I gotcha. What kind of equipment do you guys take out when you go?
We got a little bit of everything. Rob's the more techie person when it comes to having equipment.
Rob?
Yeah, I usually I run pretty simple. I found by doing this now for a couple of years, it's almost the more gadgets you have, the more it hinders your investigation.
Okay.
So if you go out more of a simple style of maybe just, your basic spirit box, a digital recorder, EMF meters, simple things like that, a simple, even a object that you can touch or move or whatever, things of that nature. That's basically what we kind of just run with. And we just go in and like Sarah said, I usually try to do a lot of pre-investigation, and I look into the history and some of the stories. I write down a lot of the names and dates, and then that way, as the night progressively keeps going, I can verify, hey, that name does mean something to this location. Let's look into it a little further. Let's keep asking these questions. That's how we kind of go about it. So
I gotcha. Do you ever get what's the feeling when you go into some of these places? Do you get those feelings? I always think that it's kind of like walking into a house or someone else's house when it's empty. You kind of have that feeling of there's someone home. Yeah. Do you guys ever get that, or am I the crazy one here?
There's a lot of times we'll both walk into a location we've never been to. We don't know a lot about it. we just go, kind of exploring just to get the feel and the nature of the place. And there's times I'll walk into a room and I'm just like, oof, this feels a little different in here. I won't say anything. I'll let somebody else verify it. And usually if especially if Sarah's right there with me and she kind of like, do you feel heavy in here? I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, in fact, I do. So, the best piece of equipment, in my opinion, is yourself. You can sense it better. You can, maybe a faint smell or any of that, those things. You are your best piece of equipment.
I got you. How about you, Sarah? Like when you walk into a new location, what's the first thing that's running through your mind?
The absolute first thing is I need to get my shoes off.
Really? What is with you and shoes?
I don't know. Like I grew up in the country and I was just always that barefoot kid. And I feel like going into haunted locations, I don't know, I feel like more connected to the location if I have my shoes off. And I know that sounds really weird.
No, it doesn't actually. There's a thing. God, where did I see it? It's something about being more connected to the earth was when you're barefoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you're grounding out, or I can't remember exactly what it is, but I've heard of it. I get it.
So as long as it's warm enough, I'm not wearing shoes.
Or if there's not broken glass on the floor or anything.
Even if there is, it's fine. I have my tetanus shot. Not worried about it.
Really, you're gonna die hard it through the building?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We went we went to Waverly Hills earlier this year and spent 2 nights there. And the entire first night, I ran around in Waverly Hills barefoot for like 10 hours. It was fabulous.
It was fabulous.
It was the best thing ever.
Okay, Rob, the first time she kicks off her shoes at an investigation, what did you think?
I mean, I was at that point, I was like, I already knew she was kind of a wacko. So I was like, I'm not shocked at all. I remember I don't remember where we were, but it was kind of chilly that night. And I remember looking over and being like, you good? Yep. Okay, then. I tried. So
that's wonderful. Is it just you guys in your group, or do you have other members? Or
it is just us.
Okay.
We do like to branch out and investigate with a lot of other investigators. So we have a core group of friends that we like to go out with.
Because you guys are out by Council Bluffs and stuff, if I remember right? Kind of west side of the state.
Rob's a little bit north. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we've had groups from the north. I don't know if we've gone this far west for anybody. So
I'm about 7 miles from the border.
Okay.
Almost Nebraska. I won't move to Nebraska because it smells funny, but I'm almost there.
You're all right with me. That's all I know. All right, so you guys have, you've done a lot of stuff here around the state. You've obviously traveled a lot. What are some places you're still looking to go? Like what, are there more trips in the future? What's kind of the end game for you guys? Is it just to go do it? Is it to, put stuff together for a YouTube page? What's kind of your end game here?
I enjoy just going. My end game is to go international. I want to go across the pond and check out some really gnarly castles and really get into some history.
All right. How about you, Rob?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay. Good answer.
I'm all about like exploring the world, seeing places that we might get one chance in life to ever see.
Let me ask you this, and not to be too forward. Do you guys have families outside of here? Because I asked beforehand if you guys were, in sort of some relationship or whatever, but you're just paranormal partners. Like, is there family stuff on the outside? Because if I tried to, like, just up and go on a ghost trip, that would get shot down pretty fast by my wife, because 7-month-old. But,
So we're actually both single parents. So,
okay.
There's a lot of planning that's involved.
Okay.
But I booted my other half out like 5 years ago. So
I didn't need the bitter details or anything, but I just it always comes up with this stuff. Boy, you want to be in a group, but it's such a commitment that it's like you said earlier, it's like a second or third job, Yep,
it's a tough thing to juggle between your normal job, your parent life, your family and friends, and then you have this other world that you're doing. My calendar, it gets full fast.
Yeah.
So,
well, and not only that, but Rob is the merch guy for the band Saul, so he travels with them a lot too.
Okay.
I'm all over the place. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Do the kids ever go on the trips with you guys, or?
No.
No. Mine. He's asked questions, but he's never he's never asked to come to anything yet.
Okay.
But I think it might be something that's down the road because he's a very techie kid. I know he would probably get into it a little bit more, but I think he's right on the brink of that that age where he's going to start. So
see, I've got a 7-year-old that I think would be really into it, but I don't know if we're quite there yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, okay, interesting stuff. Rob and Sarah from Paranormania on the line with me. I just embarrassed everybody and made it awkward. So, it is what it is. We'll have all your guys' links at the bottom of the page, along with, we'll talk off the air about different evidence and stuff you guys have going on. As we do wrap up today, I always have to ask, what's the funny moment for you guys with this stuff? What's the the investigation where things went sideways in such a funny way, or the piece of evidence that you're like, you know what, there's no way that just happened?
Well, like every minute of every investigation is just flipping hilarious.
Yeah. It's literally every place we've ever been to anywhere, from East Coast to West Coast, every day, every minute is something.
Okay, like give me a great example. Like, did the ghost fart or smack Rob on the ass, or what's the moment?
Well, every time we're like separated in a building, that's the game. I don't know if Rob even knows that I do this, but I'll be like, "Hey, ghosts of wherever we're at, go make Rob scream, smack him on the ass. I want to hear him scream from here." And he's not screamed yet, so.
Well, maybe you gotta give it a different order.
And 5 years later, now the truth comes out, Sarah.
I laugh.
Oh no, but that kind of stuff is interesting, where it's you do something that nobody else knows about, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh God, okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We did have in the moment we were all super frustrated, but now looking back on it, it's kind of funny. We were actually in St. Joseph at Beatty Mansion, and for some reason, all of us were super grouchy. I don't know if it was something there that was like making us grouchy, or we were all tired or whatever, but we put a REM pod down at a doorway, and every time we would walk away from it, it would go off. Like, don't leave. And then we'd turn around and it would stop, and then we walk away and it would go off, and it did this for hours. Finally, we were sitting in the other room, and it's just blaring, going to town. And one of the other investigators that was there with us, he was like, "Will you shut the f*** up?" Yelling at the ghost. Yeah, it was hilarious.
I think one of the other moments, and I always laugh at this, and we were at Malvern Manor. We were doing a group investigation. We had a bunch of people that were split into different groups, and that particular night, it had been just lightly raining and sprinkling, and it started raining a little heavier through the course of the night. Well, you kept hearing thunder and whatnot off in the distance, no big deal. Well, we were doing, our normal talk that we do, to get EVPs or any movement or any interaction whatsoever. And I remember one of the other investigators that was with us, she's like, "Can you replicate this knock?" And she goes to knock on the wall, on the door. And right when she hits it, this lightning bolt from Thor himself struck right next to the manor, absolutely scaring the bejeebus out of almost everybody that was there that night. And to this day, we always still laugh about that damn thing. How freaking loud it was. It was insane.
There were 30 cases of a heart attack at that moment.
Oh, wow.
There was.
Wow. Yeah, that'll do it. All right. All right, let me ask you this. Is there a place you won't go back to?
Never.
No, let's do it all again.
Okay. I always think that's interesting, whether or not there's a place that you won't go back to, or it's just like it bothers you to go there.
There's a few that are on the list of like, I can't believe I did that, but I'm still thinking about it. Like, I want to go back and try to disprove what I just witnessed or what I seen or what
Give me
the
one.
activity was actually happening. My big one is the Sally House.
Okay.
That's my like one that I'm like eek about.
All right, Sarah.
I honestly don't have any. I would love to go back to any location we've been to.
I want to go back barefoot for everybody to see.
Yep, let's do it.
Rob and Sarah from Paranormania on the line with me right now. This is the Haunting of KGGO. You can find out everything at kggo.com/haunting. It is sponsored by Phantom Fall Fest at Adventureland all this month. Guys, I think we're going to wrap it there. I appreciate the talk so much, and it was an absolute blast. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for reaching out to us.
Thank you to Kat.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know if she drinks, but you better buy her something.
Oh, I always try to bring her food or something when I'm there. So.
Well, guys, have a great weekend. I appreciate it, okay?
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
And that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Haunting of KGGO. You can find out more at kggo.com/haunting.